Hello and a very good morning. Thanks for tuning in to News 9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi. Joining me here in the studio is my colleague Bilkis P. Abraham, and what we're essentially up to every day in the morning. For many of you who join us every day, it's you know the drill. We take a look at the overnight developments. What are some headlines telling us? English, Hindi, regional newspapers, newspapers from down south. We bring you everything. This is your one-stop shop in terms of what needs to be covered today. And the beauty about the show is that we're breaking down these newsroom walls so that you can enter this process of our so-called editorial meet. Help us understand what is it that you'd like us to do as well, because we're doing this for you by the end of the day, isn't it? But that's not all. We'll also take a look at what's going live and trending on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, on various social media platforms, and what are tabloid headlines also telling us. A close eye on that as well. However, my dear friend Varghese has he's perused through the newspapers and suggested a list out for us that we should talk about. Of course, right here on the front page, Varghese, you were right. Northeast is a piece of our heart, says the Prime Minister, assures peace in Manipur soon. But that's not all. We also have the Kuki MLAs who have requested the Prime Minister to retain the Assam Rifles. So after the Manipur police has lodged an FIR.
Now and also there have been 40 MLAs from Manipur who have written asking for the removal of the Assam Rifles. And then you have the Kuki MLAs asking for the...
So what is this Assam rifle tussle essentially all about?
It's becoming a huge tussle, in fact, in Manipur.
Also, there is another alleged gang rape that has come to light. People were already talking about that. And I always use the same adjectives: abhorrent and gut-wrenching video that surfaced right before the Parliament session and dated of the 4th of May when this entire turmoil began. People were saying this might just be the tip of the iceberg, and now
one more has come.
Another alleged gang rape has now come to light. Of course, in Haryana, new violence. Everybody knew about that. The VHP rally that was carried today. That VHP rally is going to resume after about more than a fortnight, and the curfew has been lifted in Nu particularly. So updates coming from there. What are Haryana Khaps and Panchayats telling us? We'll also bring you that kind of a verdict and update. In terms of Gyanvapi, Varghese, we were planning on bringing you the key findings of the Gyanvapi survey. Bhai, finally mila kya wahan pe? Will it be a temple? Will it be a mosque? What will you do out of that survey? Places of Worship Act, Rule 7, Order 11, all of that technicalities and intricacies. It seems like now there is a proper order by the court. It says no more media reporting on Gyanvapi survey. So I beg your pardon, but I mean we will tell you why the court has said that, but no more reporting on that. Let's follow the honorable court
on the survey. I mean, especially on the details of the survey.
On the details of the survey, absolutely. A very tragic incident. I'm from a boarding school, and ragging usually was one of those toxic spectrums and factors of boarding school life, and it's not just only about boarding school life. Ragging in general, and the administration and local authorities all across the nation and the globe are trying to fight it. But there's another unfortunate ragging case that's come out of Jadavpur University, and it has been fatal. We'll talk about that as well, Varghese. The government may import tomatoes from Nepal, is what Nirmala Sitharaman has said. Apart from all the other things that she did say as part of that no trust speech, which by the way the NDA government has defeated. But again, that wasn't the point, and we'll come back to that. So tomatoes are going to be imported from Nepal, is what Nirmala Sitharaman says. So you might get to see that color red in your Maggies really soon. Also, ahead of India's moon mission's landing, Chandrayaan-3's landing, today Russia has launched its own moon lander called Luna-25, nearly 50 years after launching their last moon mission. After 50 years after that, Russia has now launched their own moon mission. It's called the Luna-25. It is a race against India, it seems, because India was also planning on landing there on the 23rd of August. So is Luna-25, and now it's going to be the first superpower to land on the south pole of the lunar surface. But that's not the point. The point is that you have India, who's still going to be one of the top 4 nations to successfully land in half the price maybe of what Russia is trying to achieve.
Russia actually launched it just in between a Ukraine war. So, I mean,
that's actually quite surreal. I mean, don't you have a war going on and you still want to send a proper full-blown moon mission? Anyway, we'll talk about that, but first and foremost, shifting our focus to all the viewers, do get down in the comment sections, help us out with what your brain is telling you at the moment. Of course, do follow the community guidelines. Varghese, Northeast is a piece of our heart, says the Prime Minister, assures peace in Manipur soon. As expected, no trust motion defeated in Lok Sabha by the voice vote. We will break all records and return to office in 2024. Of course, I mean this no trust vote, which the Congress party, right in the beginning, you know, essentially the fulcrum of the INDIA alliance, Gaurav Gogoi had said that, you know, we've tabled this, and the Prime Minister continued to target Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary right in the beginning of his speech, his response in the Parliament. So the no trust motion has been defeated. Gaurav Gogoi says that the idea was not to tell you that there is a no trust vote or that we have numbers on our side. It was to make you come to the Parliament and talk on Manipur.
That was the,
so at least
for
about 50 minutes, the Prime Minister kept speaking and the opposition kept on screaming, "Arey Manipur pe kuch bolo, Manipur, 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 Manipur." And the Prime Minister did speak about Manipur as well. First and foremost, how do you break down the Prime Minister's response?
All of us know that, you know, we have an elections coming up in 2024. And it looks like the battle lines are being drawn now itself, and it's very simple as that. What the opposition has used is that they've tried to, in fact, move a motion. Of course, everybody knows that, you know, the BJP has got a brutal majority in the Parliament. It's with its allies, it's much more far ahead. So the issue was never about a no confidence motion. The issue is not about the trust against the government that they were trying to move. What they tried to do is that particular aspect within the no confidence motion, which forces the Prime Minister to speak in the Parliament. So that aspect of that rule is what they did, and that is why they moved the no confidence motion. So the no confidence motion was technically the battleground that was being set for 2024, and of course this is the monsoon mission. You will, the monsoon session, and then you will have the winter session as well. Then you will have the budget session also coming up, and probably after that you will be moving towards the elections. So we have 2 more sessions coming up, and I'm sure that no confidence motions might not be there. But interestingly, the Prime Minister, as you said,
the Prime Minister did irk, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary.
Yeah, he did in fact raise that
he has been suspended for misconduct as well, Varghese.
Yeah, he's been it's a gross and deliberate and
quit India from communalization, quit India from polarization, quit India from saffronization. The power of the no confidence motion has brought the Prime Minister in the Parliament today. This is what Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary said, and Mahua Moitra said, "We are here to ask questions. Our turn. Abhi chup raho, Republic. Tum abhi chup raho, Republic." Where the Honorable Prime Minister tells the Governor, "Chup raho," where MPs are routinely told, "Chup raho," this motion is to break omerta, this code of silence in Manipur. This is what
so that is what they were saying. They were trying to have a...
Even Asaduddin Owaisi spoke in the Parliament.
He went on, but he made a very interesting... He said, is Hindutva more important than the country? Asked Owaisi. So what he said is that expressed concern over atrocities against Muslims, accused the Bharatiya Janata Party-led government of the centre promoting majoritarian politics, and asked if Hindutva is more important than the nation. And then Scindia, in fact, blunts the attack by the opposition parties, is what the Hindustan Times has taken. It said that it is using Manipur as a launch pad for itself. So that is how you had Scindia, who was once upon a time a congressman, who went ahead and said this. Meanwhile, there was a side, this thing on the economic front also. You had Sitaraman saying that ho jayega, which was the kind of concept that was looked at for till 2014, is now ho gaya. That is what she had in fact
ban gaya, mil gaya,
all that. You see, a lot of wordplay happened, Kabir, yesterday. A lot of wordplay was happening, in fact, in the Parliament
Maybe
yesterday.
we're doing exactly what our politicians in the Parliament did too. The idea is to talk about Manipur. Right?
Yeah, the idea was to talk about
Manipur. Do you think enough focus and emphasis was laid on Manipur?
Look
at Amit Shah's speech, look at Nirmala Sitharaman's speech.
Yeah, no, when we look at both of, I see Amit Shah has been saying that, you know, the government from the time the violence has broken out from May 3rd, he spoke about how he was woken up in the morning by the Prime Minister saying at 4 a.m. he was given a call, and the next day at 6 a.m. he was given a call. And then of course you have Amit Shah actually visiting the state as well. He was on the ground. There was a change in with regards to the security advisors, officers on the ground, all that happened. But the fact remains still that the violence is still continuing, and then you had that appeal from Amit Shah saying that there should be peace. But what did the Prime Minister say with it? The Prime Minister's statements were like this: "I assure the people of Manipur, that mothers and daughters of Manipur, that India stands by them. The House stands with them. We will work on solutions to the problems. Manipur will move on the path of progress in the times to come." And that is what he had in fact raised on the question of Manipur. And of course, you know, the Manipur was the focal point on which they in fact said that the Prime Minister needs to speak, and he had in fact given a lot of those statements on
This
Manipur
is what the
as
Indian
well.
Express top page says. It says, motion of no confidence defeated in Lok Sabha. People of Manipur, the country is with you. I promise the sun of peace will rise again. I'm just asking you this question. The Prime Minister finally spoke about Manipur more than 30 seconds. I mean, he did touch upon it a little bit right at the opening statement ahead of the parliamentary session.
That is because just then the video had also come.
Right, absolutely. And it was a sensitive situation suddenly because, you know, that video was out and people were expecting the Prime Minister to give a statement. But these kind of statements, again, everybody that comes to our show, you know, people who can actually, who are actually working on the ground say that there is no magic wand. At reconciliation now, after almost 3.5 months, looks a little bit more difficult.
It is more difficult. It's more difficult.
So then what do you expect the Prime Minister to do? At least the Prime Minister came out, at least he spoke about Manipur, he gave them some sort of reassurance, and it does go a long way. People were saying Rahul Gandhi made it to Manipur, look at him, he's touched the hand of the lady who's, you know, expressing her ordeal, and it goes a long way, just the fact that he's touching her hand, holding her hand, comforting her, and the woman is crying. Isn't this also some sort of comfort coming from the Prime Minister?
Well, see, you know, one of the things that the opposition has been taking up is that, first of all, look at the optics. We have a small problem over here. One is, other than Home Minister Amit Shah and various other leaders, the issue about why the Prime Minister did not go to Manipur is what the opposition has been focusing on. The opposition sent a delegation, they had Rahul Gandhi there, so they had the optics right when it comes to Manipur completely. So that is where they try to play around, saying that the Prime Minister did not in fact go to Manipur. We went to Manipur. We know the situation in Manipur. We have a delegation that went to Manipur. We had our leaders go to Manipur. So they in fact put the Prime Minister on the dock, saying that why didn't you visit Manipur? But then you have the Home Minister coming in defense about what was happening in Manipur. But again, Kabir, it's not only about Manipur. I mean, you know, the kind of course, when we talk about Bharat Mata, there was one reference that was in fact made, and those statements were in fact removed or rather expunged from the Lok Sabha, you know, the debate book of recording. So now what this, he said,
the Prime Minister has already replied.
Yeah, he's taken that. He said this time period of 21st century is a time for fulfilling our aspiration. Whatever is shaped during that time period will impact the country for the next 1,000 years. So he's saying that this is something that we have to be quite knowledgeable about, that what decisions we take right now is going to be important. So there he goes, he says that these are people who talk about the murder of democracy and constitution. These are people who divided Mahabharati into 3 pieces. When the time came to free Mahabharati of slavery, they chopped off her limbs. I mean, he did make that kind of a very powerful statement.
Away from the wordplay in the parliament, let's take a look at what's actually happening on the ground. 3 Manipur gangrape FIRs among 11 cases being probed by the Central Bureau of Investigation. MNF MP's mic muted as he rises to speak on Manipur. So Mizo National Front, you know, Zoram Thanga, he's already backed the no confidence vote.
Also, that person, I mean, look at them, they are part of the NDA. Zoram Thanga's back channel influences are being used, and then you have their MP's mic being
muted. So basically, you would expect the NDA MP to be sitting right behind where the Prime Minister was speaking from, right? So you don't want any sort of protest coming from there, because all you could see from the Prime Minister's frame were smiles coming from Prahlad Joshi and our Law Minister, Mr. Megwal. You know, 3 Manipur gangrape FIRs among 11 cases being probed by the CBI. 40 MLAs visit Prime Minister's residence, submit memorandum. We're going to open up on that. And here
that memorandum is on this, Kabir, Assam Rifles.
Assam Rifles. And another Manipur woman reports gangrape on the 3rd of May. So that
when the riots happened.
When the riots happened on the 3rd of May. In an August 9 FIR, says mob also burnt down her house. A 37-year-old mother holding her 2 minor sons and fleeing a mob that had burned down their house in Manipur on May 3rd was waylaid by a group of men, pinned down and allegedly gang raped. She said in a 0 FIR registered on the 9th of August, over 3 months after the crime. The survivor, who said she didn't report the assault until now for fear of social ostracism and to spare her family unwanted attention, decided to approach Bishnupur's women police station when she could no longer bear the trauma and suffering she went through for no fault of hers.
That is the sad part of this entire...
Imagine the thousands of people who are going through a similar kind of a trauma for absolutely no fault of their own.
I mean, a lot of people have been caught, especially women and children are the ones who are caught up in this crossfire. A lot of mixed families, like, those who are Metis and Cookies are there both in their families, and they have mixed families. They have suffered a lot of trauma. Some of them have lost their children to these mobs as well. So it is a very difficult situation on the ground. And the saddest part is that, Kabir, it started on May 3rd. And we are now where? In August. And August 11th, we are still discussing about Manipur, which is the shock part of it. And, Manipur is appearing on all media houses' pages right now. Every day, there is a story on Manipur. And this shows that the urgency of the situation, what's happening in Manipur, is not at all normal. And hope peace is restored as fast as possible.
40 Manipur MLAs submit memorandum to Prime Minister Modi. Let's just tell the viewers, what exactly that is, Varghese. A complete disarmament, withdrawal from the suspension of operations agreement with Kuki groups, implementation of an NRC, and no separate administration for the Kuki-Zomi tribes. These were among the list of demands submitted by a delegation of 40 MLAs from Manipur, including Naga and Muslim MLAs, to Prime Minister Narendra Modi at his official residence late on Wednesday night. The MLAs who had sought an appointment with the Prime Minister were unable to get it and handed over their memorandum to his staff. The 10 Kuki MLAs in the Manipur Assembly and Congress legislators were not part of the delegation, which was meant to be a show of strength by the N. Biren Singh led state BJP government.
Well, also this other part of the story, Manipur tribal MLAs urge Prime Minister Modi not to pull out Assam rifles from the state.
So there is there are two facets and factors over here. The Naga Council held rallies. They said, we're hoping for peace. You got 40 MLAs from Manipur, including, Muslim MLAs, who've gone there and said that, no separate administration, make sure, basically peace prevails and this divide does not happen.
Yes.
On the other hand, you've got...
Yeah, and they also added this, that they said that the 10 tribal MLAs who have been at odds with the Manipur Chief Minister N. Biren Singh over his handling of the ethnic violence said they feared for their safety because of a campaign has been started against the Assam rifles to remove them from their state. So, those MLAs actually fear for their lives now.
Well, another woman reporting gang rape on the 3rd of May, 3 gang rape out of the 11 FIRs that are being probed already by the CBI. The Prime Minister has categorically said that he assures that the sun of peace will rise in Manipur once again. A lot of factors at play here, and I every day move on to the next particular segment saying that, let's hope that
peace prevails.
Peace prevails, but 3.5 months, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a long time. That's a long time. What's going to happen next? Well, is actually anybody's guess in this particular domain. But we're going to continue to bring you the right kind of voices, continue to make sure that we in some sort of way are able to help foster any kind of peace, quell disinformation, and bring you the right kind of voices on our show, because Manipur is something that we have been tracking and following closely for the last 3.5 months. News 9 is your one-stop destination for all whatever is happening in Manipur and developments from there. Well, let's shift our focus now, Varghese. In the Haryana Cups, what's really happening over there? Because the VHP is going to carry out their own, they're going to resume rather.
They're going to resume their rallies.
Now, my question again is, you have the High Court that has come in and said that, this bulldozer action must stop. You have the High Court that has asked this question categorically, is this ethnic cleansing that's going on? 1,200 structures that have been raised already, overwhelmingly of one community, that community being the Muslim community. Now the VHP is going to resume the Haryana rallies. You remember what happened in Noor, right? Monu Manesar, accused in that twin murder case of Junaid and the other guy.
And interesting enough,
their body is burnt inside a bolero, tied and burnt. Cow vigilantes.
Cow vigilantes. And some of the cops in Haryana have now requested for the arrest of Monu Manesar. So, there are panchayats and Kaps that are worried about how Monu Manesar has affected the peace in Haryana. So they have in fact asked for his immediate arrest as well. And also to stay with that story, there is an interesting headline that's come from the Hindu on this. No indication Gurugram violence was planned in advance. That is what the police chief is saying. Gurugram Police Commissioner Kala Ramachandran on Thursday said that interrogation of the accused arrested in connection with the communal clashes in the city did not suggest that the violence was planned in advance. That is what it is being said. And then she said that, the person said, the commissioner said that it is stray incidents. The commissioner said stray incidents of violence by elements trying to disturb peace in the area continue to occur. The police have also taken suo motu cognizance of the cases of hate speech and registered 2 FIRs on that.
Well, Panchayat in Gurgaon village will take action when situation becomes normal, say the cops. Now, new schools are going to open up today, ladies and gentlemen. After a week of being shut due to the communal violence, school and educational institutions in New will open on Friday. This coming from the Deputy Commissioner Dhirendra Khadgata. Curfew will be relaxed from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Khadgata appealed to the ulama, religious scholars, on Thursday to encourage people to perform the Friday prayer at their homes and inspire those around them to do the same, which is again a little funny because we've had other DGPs on our show come and tell us categorically that if they were in their place, they would make sure that the Friday prayer happens out in the open to send the right kind of confidence message that, look, nothing is wrong here, continue to do what you were actually doing. Now, ulamas have been told, and this is not the first Friday prayer that the Muslim community has been asked to stay indoors and offer their prayers indoors.
Remember,
a completely different aspect over here, but more importantly, schools are going to open and curfews have been relaxed.
Remember, the Congress delegation was not allowed to enter Nu, but then the CPM delegation was able to make an entry into Nu as such. And this is what they are saying: violence well orchestrated to garner poll dividends, says CPI-M team after Nu trip. The Communist Party of India Marxist delegation has described the communal clashes in Nu as well orchestrated to garner electoral dividends in the forthcoming Assembly and Lok Sabha elections and sought a judicial probe into the violence under the supervision of the High Court. The delegation of CPIM, led by Politburo member Nilopal Basu, comprising of Rajya Sabha MPs A. Rahim and V. Shivdasan, Haryana State Secretariat members Inderjit Singh and others, the first opposition party to reach the riot hit Nu. They are the first opposition party to be in the riot hit Nu. And one interesting thing they've said that is that the Mewat region is known for perfect communal harmony and there is no history of communal riots. The mobilization of the so-called religious procession organized by the right-wing outfits was entirely done from outside, comprising of rowdy mob equipped with arms.
Right. Sporadic incidents of violence, however, continue, Varghese. Yet another case of stone pelting. Yet another case of stone pelting was reported. This time, a group of 10 to 12 men pelted stones at a house in Bilaspur on Thursday. Police said an FIR under IPC sections of relevant sections was registered on a complaint by Aslam, who is an electrician. Meanwhile, days after a panchayat in Gurgaon's Tigra village, you remember this particular panchayat calling for the boycott of economical boycott of Muslims, where the Naib Imam was killed. They wanted the removal of a mosque in a particular sector in Gurugram. The police has said that they will take action. However, they're waiting for the situation to become a little bit normal. After that, you had 50 other panchayats who had issued letters calling for boycott of Muslim traders. After which, again, a couple of those panchayats withdrew those letters. One of those Sarpanch's story we showcased here on News 9. The beauty of that story, how a lady Sarpanch who also prays at a mazar right at the entrance of the village. You've got the Muslim community's place of worship and you've got the Hindu communities is right across the road from each other. That's how you enter into the village. She withdrew the letter. A couple of other Khap panchayats followed suit. But now in Rajasthan village, a particular village in Rajasthan is feeling the heat of the new communal violence. 3 youths have been picked up. So the violence isn't over. Days after communal clashes, Singh, Haryana's Nu district, ripples are being felt in neighboring Rajasthan, with 3 youths from Bharatpur district's Pahadi village being picked up by investigators. While the arrests were made from Nu, the families of the youths, all truck drivers, insist they were there for work. One of the families has also claimed police have arrested a 16-year-old from their house. So investigations are currently on. The police is on the ground. We were showcasing those visuals also. Proper police's flag marches being carried out in Nu. But more importantly, with 1,200 houses that have been razed, you've got the High Court intervention, and the High Court has questioned that there is a little bit of a community bias that's at play in your execution of punishment.
You use the word ethnic cleansing. That's a huge word.
The words that the High Court uses is this ethnic cleansing that's going on. Was the VHP rally and its resumption How do you look at that?
Well, already in a sensitive situation like this, when you have the resumption of such rallies, of course, there should be high security if that rally is continuing, because there are chances of it being targeted again. So there, it will be a security nightmare for the Qatar government as well. But then I would like to know whether Qatar, the chief minister, would actually stand by his statement that he won't be able to provide protection for all if these rallies do resume, and therefore it has the potential of creating trouble, or rather there could be trouble because these rallies are passing through sensitive areas. So I think at the moment the state government is in no position to give permission for such rallies, because the peace is still very on a very, what I would say is on a very eggshell kind of a situation, where all the administration to everyone is walking on eggshells right now. I think they'll all have to be very careful when it comes to the resumption of these rallies right now. And even if they are giving permission for these rallies, they have to be very careful about providing security to these rallies, because you're going to have, of course, these rallies are going to be organized by certain organizations, but you'll have a lot of people coming from the common devotees and others would be joining it. So those people would be have to be provided with security. And at the same time, I think there should be a lot of peace committees right now. Normally what happens is that you activate peace committees in areas like this, but in this area, especially in Mewat, there was no problem of a communal issue. But since it's cropped up, I think you should establish a whole series of peace committees that could immediately work on community level and grassroots levels to contain the tensions.
Well, absolutely. Again, I'm glad that the court has been intervening right at the right times. However, it took 4 days. 4 days of demolitions had already been done by the time the court had finally intervened. But again, the larger question is, those out of their homes now, what is the government doing to help them?
That is
people on the ground,
a lot of people have been
displaced. The fringe elements on the ground are, of course, forcing people to move away. Time for you to move. All right, time's up, get out. What are you doing for them is the bigger question. They are the ones who are suffering. That's the bigger question. Before we take a look at that ragging case from Jadavpur, I was just reading here in the on the front page a couple of things that I want to just throw to light. And the way Dainik Bhaskar has put out their headlines, it just just takes you away a little bit for a second. It says, बच्चे कैंप में, युवा बंकर में, महिलाएं सड़क पर और प्रशासन गायब.
This is that's on Manipur. Oh my God, that's really a big headline.
बच्चे दूध के लिए रोते हैं, बिस्किट खाकर सोते हैं. युवा किताबें छोड़ी, बंदूकें उठाई, रोज मौत से सामना. This is the situation. In
Which
Manipur.
newspaper is this? I mean, that is
this
really.
Is the Dainik Bhaskar.
Dainik Bhaskar has written it very well.
And also over here, Varghese, just for the perusal of all the viewers, the national capital, 15 August is right around the corner. I was, coming back from a dinner last night, and I saw all the nakabandis, all the checkposts, all the barricading that's already been done. There's proper checking, even at 11 p.m. in the night. There's proper traffic because of these barricadings and stuff. दिल्ली फ्रंट पेज पे खुलासा दैनिक भास्कर का, स्पेशल सेल के 35 अफसरों ने 15 अगस्त G20 को लेकर 3 दिन का किया था ऑडिट, सेफ्टी ऑडिट ऑफ दिल्ली, 35 ऑफिसर्स फ्रॉम अ स्पेशल सेल. होटल, मॉल्स, पीजी, पार्किंग, टैक्सी स्टैंड समेत 100 जगह पर मिली गंभीर गड़बड़ी. Lapses at about 100 places. गार्ड चेक नहीं करते, गाड़ियों की जांच भी नहीं. And that's actually true, because the last time you went to the mall, you went to watch the movie, how thoroughly did the guard actually check your vehicle? Now, of course, you're not carrying some miscreant item with you, but it could be anybody. I've been joking with my friends sometimes that carrying a gun sometimes on a metro becomes easy. They don't check you enough.
They don't actually, the checking part of it, Kabir, even as you in fact pointed out, it just
sometimes
seems that it is just
the scanning thing that they do,
and many times it does have that
beep also, but they don't check.
Those are actually worrying.
I would actually want my airport security level checking to take place everywhere.
That is there, because when we are.
But in a country of 140 crore people, how do you do that? फिर mall के भारी line लगी रहेगी. People won't be able to enter the mall only. Then you're asking them to check everything. You know, even when you enter hotels, even when you enter large places, large gatherings, large events. I went to the Backstreet Boys concert recently, and there was frivolous checking. Anybody could have done anything over there. And of course, liability matters, but I wouldn't send my loved ones over there. So, of course, a big red flag when Bada Khulasa, Delhi ke front page pe, hotel, malls, PGs, parkings, taxi stands, about 100 places, there's a clear-cut lapses, guard check nahi karte, gaadiyon ki jaanch nahi, G20 and 15th August right around the corner. It does become a little sensitive in these kind of situations. All right, shifting our focus to Jadavpur, where a ragging case took place. Varghese has the details for us on that. So, a ragging took place. And it suddenly turned violent. Right?
See, what happens is I'm reading the Hindustan Times' copy. A first-year student of the Jadavpur University in Kolkata died after allegedly falling from the second-floor balcony of his hostel, where he was staying since last week. So he's just entered for the academic year. Even as the deceased family alleged he was bullied inside the hostel, police said an investigation is underway. So it is an alleged case of ragging that we are looking at. The university said that it set up an internal committee to probe the student's death. The 18-year-old is from Nadia district, was found in front of the main hostel building outside the university campus by other students at around 11:45 p.m. on Wednesday. The teen's body bore several injury marks and he was rushed to a private hospital. He received multiple injuries and died at 4:30 a.m. during treatment at the KPSC Medical College. Police officer at Jadavpur police station said. Now there is more on that details on page 10. I'll just give this thing on.
But it is actually sad, Varghese, that these kind of things still happen in colleges, in education.
It happened. And look at the description that is given over here. The 18-year-old student from Nadia district was found lying naked in a pool of blood in front of the main hostel building outside the university campus, which is what has led to the speculation that he was being ragged inside that hostel. The teen's body bore several injury marks. We have in fact read that part of it. A senior police official has said that while the family is yet to register a formal complaint, police have sent the body for post-mortem. Examination has begun and a probe of unnatural death is in fact being looked into. It is said that West Bengal Governor CV Ananda Bose has visited the premises in the evening as well. So it is a huge issue. Of course, the Chancellor has a role when it comes to the universities, but in West Bengal they have removed the Chancellorship from the Governor as well. So I hope it is not politics that is at play when it comes to that as well.
Well, there you have it, the Governor visiting the particular accident site, Jadavpur University as well, CV Ananda Bose. AFSU's protest also that's happening and being carried out. The students have certainly gathered, and it must be a troublesome time, because whenever something like this happens in an educational institutions, students tend to get a little fidgety, and it's not a very happy time for them. Neither is it for the the college administration. Any word coming out from the ruling dispensation, the Trinamool Congress?
Well, they are saying that let the investigation first take place, let the details of the investigation come out, and they are also waiting for the family to file a complaint right now. So they're just waiting for the process of law to start, and after that probably we'll find some kind of reaction. But they said that all investigations with regard to this would be carried out without any sort of an effort to shield anyone. So they want a proper investigation to be carried out inside the Jadavpur University.
Alright, so Jadavpur University main hostel, this is where the entire ordeal took place. We've lost an 18-year-old student. The probe is on. I don't want to stick my neck out and say that it was because of purely ragging, but the circumstances and the factors at play do point towards a possible ragging case. The body was naked and several injury marks on the body as well, right? And he had just entered there, right? He was living there for it had merely been just a couple of weeks.
Maybe he just joined for the session, new session to start is what we understand. And he was probably there for almost a week. Last week or something is when he had joined the hostel, and after that you have his death being reported from him.
Hearts and prayers go out to his loved ones, and may his soul rest in peace. All right, Varghese, let's shift our focus. Always a little tough to talk about, these kind of things and then move on to another piece of information as if nothing really happened, but we must cover other elements as well. I was earlier talking about Gyanvapi, and there you have it, there it is. The court bars ASI from sharing Gyanvapi survey with the media. So the Archaeological Survey of India has been barred by the court from sharing any sort of survey information with the media. The district court in Varanasi on Thursday directed the ASI and other stakeholders, so other stakeholders as well.
Which means some of those people,
everybody who's in the Tahakhana, everybody who's in the ablution area, in the basement area, and whoever is in the process of carrying out that mapping procedural, because in the Dainik Bhaskaran or the Jagran, one of the newspapers, remember we saw those pictures where you could actually see, at least it was good information, you could understand what was actually happening. Otherwise it's just police outside the Kashi Vishwanath and the Gyanvapi mosque, there's a big door and the police is standing, right, those kind of visuals are fed in through agencies, and of course security is also needed because it can get really sensitive at any time. Bigger questions, of course, what are you going to do with the survey? Why are you carrying out the survey? But let's try and find out why did the court stop from sharing the information. Besides the ASI, the other stakeholders are both sides in the case, the Muslim community and the Hindu petitioners, their representatives and government councils. Like I said, everybody who's in the process. In its order, the court observed that if the media, print, electronic or social, still publishes false reports about the survey, action will be taken against them as per the law. The petitioner in the matter had sought directions to stop social, print and electronic media from publishing, broadcasting baseless and false reporting. You remember right on the day one of the survey, the Muslim side had again approached
They had
the court.
threatened to in fact boycott cooperating with the survey because of this reason only.
They had warned, they had threatened a boycott, saying that the minute this goes on, you're going to start spreading out lies. People have already started talking about how Trishul's formation can be seen from below the ablution area. See, it doesn't take time. That's the power of social media. The good, the bad, the boon, the bane, you decide for yourself. But that's what social media does. You can amplify something in a snippet, within a click. So maybe a good and a welcome step coming in here from the court, Varghese?
Well, it's a welcome step, and probably I was saying the same thing. Remember 3-4 days back also we were discussing why they were threatening to boycott, what could have been the reasons, and one of the fears has been that whatever this particular survey report was supposed to go straight to the court. Now it is up to the court whether to make it public or not, or speak about the survey report or not. All that is part of the court's this thing. But then you had all these elements who were associated with the case coming out and giving tidbits of what they think that the ASI has found. There was no confirmation regarding to it because the ASI officials were also not coming out officially and making any of those statements. So this was only creating tensions further in that region, and therefore it's a good decision that the Varanasi court has said that let the survey go on, let that report be submitted first in the manner it has to be submitted, rather than creating the kind of confusion it's already creating, especially with a lot of speculations going on, a lot of unconfirmed reports coming in, and of course when it comes into the media it only raises more questions and also tries to create confusions among the people. So let the court decide whether that information should come out or not.
All right, we'll let the court decide. Again, my bigger question is, what do you do with this survey?
I mean, let's see what
they
is the next.
They say the survey is to find out the truth, whether what existed. But will you act upon it? Will you not act upon it?
See,
so many people out there, so many journalists out there, verified with the blue tick on social media platforms.
I asked this question to a lot of people, senior journalists over here. All of them are saying is that now, what you're going to do with that information is going to be crucial, because that could be problematic as what would be the next step be, and that is what they are also in fact trying to establish. What was your friends in fact trying to say? I mean, you were looking into their blue ticks as well.
Yeah, I see, they're verified, corroborated sources, blue ticks on Twitter, blue ticks on Instagram, verified sources. They're saying ki you're basically, this is a bid to break down the mosque essentially, right? Is this a Babri 2.0? The people have given it
there were
names already.
speculations
People
on
have
those kind of things. But yes, that big question remains is that what you do with that kind of.
And a lot of people out there openly on the internet saying that yes, they want in fact, they want a temple here. When a temple did exist here, and which the survey will prove in a very short while. Well, we'll see. I am again saying, if you can look at the picture on the big wall here, you can see that there's the Gyanvapi mosque, and then there's the shrine, and the facade, the new Kashi Vishwanath corridor. It's situated right next to each other, and that's the beauty, the confluence of Varanasi, the culture and education and religion. It happens in Varanasi, but well, we'll have to wait and find out. In the meantime, no news reports on Gyanvapi, ladies and gentlemen, at least not on News 9.
On the survey.
On the survey. No false information on News 9, but in any case, we don't deal with any kind of false news anyway. And that's the truth. You can go and check that out. All right, let's focus on this as well. Importing tomatoes from Nepal, part of steps to calm inflation, says Nirmala Sitharaman. आपके घर पे भी टमाटर नहीं आ रहा होगा, आप भी टमाटर नहीं ला रहे होंगे. Varghese is our everyday, every week he goes to the mandi. He's our mandi man. He goes to the mandi every Wednesday. This time around, the tomato prices have come down just a little bit. The prices of onion about 30 rupees a kilo.
Yeah, no, and it was
tomatoes about the nice tomatoes, the good tomatoes, the one that the readies, the markets, the one that look juicy from outside, costing about 170, 160 bucks.
170 it had come. I had paid before that a week ago. I had paid 200 rupees, but from
all the other people from these mandis, they're saying that big conglomerates pick these tomatoes directly up from the farmers. Take them to these big sellers like your Reliance retails and your big shops and your big bazaars and all that stuff, and that's where you get the cheaper tomatoes. So people go there and they pick it up, and the mandi walas are left in that turmoil, nobody to help them out.
Also, Kabir, now recently they are saying that in the NCR, Delhi NCR region, they are hoping that the government is hoping to ensure that tomatoes are available for 70 rupees a kilo. So that's why this import comes in. They are also procuring from Maharashtra's areas where they do grow tomatoes. In the south also they are making those inquiries to ensure that there is some kind of balance when it comes to the tomato prices here. But then my worry is that when you have so much of this thing, Kabir, what happens is when you go for such a huge procurement, there's a high chance that there could.
Varghese, looks like a gold mine.
Now it is a gold mine.
It's like these slow-mo shots. They're now looking like gold mines.
Kabir, there is another interesting thing. There could be, if they're going to procure this kind of tomatoes in large numbers, and they are having that procurement, and the government is looking at possibility of ensuring that the prices do come down. There could be a sudden crash also because there's too much of tomatoes available, and the price of tomatoes could just suddenly drop. That could be a cause of concern. At the same time, you have to maintain some kind of a price kind of a situation on tomatoes. But Kabir, there is something appearing on most of the supermarkets. What is it? It is that tomato puris. People, those puris, they are completely gone off the shelves. I mean, people are just buying them and storing them because because it turns out to be much cheaper than the tomatoes that you
not as fresh, not as healthy, but it's still the same compound. I mean, liquid gold, solid gold, it's one of the same thing, right? I mean, I'm looking at these shots and I'm just going. The way the crate is being kept, it looks like a gold.
If you look at
I'll just read what the finance minister actually said. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Thursday said the government is taking a series of steps to cool down inflation, including importing tomatoes from Nepal and increasing the supply of subsidized ones through cooperatives and open networks for digital commerce, amid signs of moderation in prices. Now, Sitharaman said the Modi government was turning dreams into reality by delivering on promises, resulting in a change in the discourse from milega to mil gaya, from banega to ban gaya, and from aayega to आ गया. तो टमाटर भी आ जाएंगे बहुत जल्दी नेपाल से. Inflation cool down करने का process है. Nirmala Sitharaman also told that in the amid global challenges, in the face of China's deflation, India is the only economy that's resilient. The Prime Minister pretty much 3 times said that in my 3rd term I will make India the 3rd largest economy in the world. A 333 over there.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't speculate on elections. may the confidence be as it is, and of course a lot of people are.
But are you glad with this move, a Mandi man, that tomatoes are being...
See, that's what I was saying, that you are getting stuff from everywhere. It shouldn't be that there will be sudden crash on this. And interestingly, like Kabir, I was looking at it, I'm trying to verify whether it is true also, that there are a lot of tomato farmers who had off-season tomato crops who did make between 2 to 3 crores selling their this thing because of the prices of tomatoes being this, and some of them did put it out on their social media handles, but yet it has to be verified first that some of them did make a lot of money on this.
Bilkis's case and the remission of the convicts. The Supreme Court has now been told, and shifting of focus here, ladies and gentlemen, of course. I don't know what newspaper it was on. I do remember what exactly was said in the court. And this is what the Supreme Court was told. The Supreme Court was told that the 11 convicts and the remission of these convicts, the early release, it was illegal. Why was this illegal? Because the 11 convicts ignored a trial court's default sentence of 2 years for non-payment of a fine. So, because they did not pay a fine, there was already a default sentence of 2 years by a trial court. On the other hand, the Gujarat government, what the Gujarat government says, see right over there, release ignored 2-year trial court default sentence for not paying fine. Now, SC was told that the Bilkis case remissions were illegal. The Gujarat government has said that there was no vested interest in ordering this early release here. All right. Mahua Moitra was also there, I think, in the Supreme Court. But what do you have to say? What do you think? The remission in itself and those visuals, I just can't seem to take them out of my head. I agree with the fact that everybody needs to get another chance. Everybody should be forgiven. That's what we're taught, right? But for heinous crimes like these, 11 convicts, convicted for 3 gang rapes. Well, all convicted in 2008.
Kabir,
imagine the plight of Bilkis Bano. Put yourself in Bilkis Bano's shoes.
Issue over here is about, I mean, at least the court is debating whether that remission part of it, what it did was right or wrong. The Supreme Court itself is in fact looking into that particular aspect where it ordered the remission factor. I asked the Gujarat government to take up the issue about the remission of the people who had given that plea asking for cutting short of their sentence, whether it was right on the part of the Supreme Court itself. So there is some soul searching that is happening. But the fact remains is that when it comes to such a huge case, I mean, we know which year this happened and how this had affected, and what is the message, that larger message they are trying to send, that after a heinous crime that you will be actually be able to get your sentence shortened. And what was this heinous crime? A pregnant woman was violated, and her 3-year-old, or I think a 3 or 4-year-old child was killed in front of her. This is the kind of suffering that she went through.
Right.
So,
I mean, that's the kind of example we're setting, that you can carry out a heinous crime like this and come out on an early release, be garlanded, be fed laddus right when you're out. That just doesn't cut ice with me personally, and in my limited opinion, it shouldn't fly absolutely. I mean, take a look at this. Man held for masturbating in front of woman at Delhi metro station. Earlier we saw that video of that Rapido guy, some delivery service. I don't want to put Rapido on the pedestal here, my apologies. But I'm just saying, in down south, the biker, the lady sitting on the back, and he was masturbating on the front. And man held for masturbating in front of a woman at Delhi metro stations. I know, of course, chalk and cheese over here in terms of cases, but potato in terms of the sensitivities, in terms of how we're dealing with it. We let it fly.
This is like no country.
We let it slide.
You know, when we go through
what country is this for? No country for women, no country for women,
no country for children.
No country.
No country for children also. So whose country is this for? I mean, these are small incidents of what we try to say, but they speak larger of what is wrong as a malaise in our society. And I think we have to, in fact, focus on that as well, especially when it comes to justice to women.
Absolutely. Also going to quickly show you some visuals, talk about Luna-25, Russia's moon mission that has been launched in a bid to land on the moon ahead of our own Chandrayaan-3. Those are some visuals that we've received, playing those out for you. Of course, you can look at the technology itself. It just looks a little bit more advanced and pristine. I think the lander is also going to be a better looking lander. I'm not sure if the lander is going to be able to work beyond the 15 days. That is a stipulated time of our own lander Vikram. It can't work beyond 15 Earth days because one moon day. Will this, Luna-25, will it work beyond one moon day? That is going to be the bigger question. But this competition with India that people are trying to put forth, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, and Varghese, you as well, you can, of course, contradict. This is not a competition. We're doing it in a much lesser price. We're putting our moon, our lander on the moon for our own, benefit. But now that Russia has joined the race, how do you see this playing out? Because the bid here,
I wouldn't call it a race.
Is to find
I wouldn't
water
call it
on moon.
Yeah, that is
water
the thing.
On
because
the
that, Chandrayaan, the previous Chandrayaan mission did, in fact,
NASA took credit for that.
They took credit for it, but the Chandrayaan mission did, in fact, speculate
the
that
initial Chandrayaan,
and initial Chandrayaan, and also there could be an atmosphere during daytime in those areas, is what they said, because the moon, of course, when we have the frozen water being heated up by the sun's rays, there could be a possibility of an atmosphere also, is what they said. So a lot of Chandrayaan's finding, I think ISRO is not that organization that tends to harp around and publicize and advertise and say a lot of things, but they did in fact have a crucial find on this. And by the way, Roscosmos, which is the Russian agency, is the successor of the USSR's space agency, and going to the moon for Russia or for the US, I mean, for me, it's quite interesting because right now you have the Artemis mission on the part of the US, where the US is trying to send, a manned mission to the moon. Russia is trying to catch up on the moon. The Chinese are trying to catch up on the moon. So there is something about the moon. I think in the next 50 to 60 years, that will be one heavenly body that is going to see a lot of traffic from our side.
Meanwhile, our own Chandrayaan has been sending pictures. If you could just, show those visuals once again. Right, there you go.
Yeah,
Lander Vikram has sent our very own pictures. It sent a picture yesterday. It sent a picture. From the day it launched from Sriharikota, the first view of the Earth looks beautiful and stunning. Do check out the LVM-3M4 dedicated Twitter page for the lander Vikram. And then it sent the first picture it took of the moon after it entered the lunar orbit. Again, another stunning picture. Really
it is a very
talks about the tech
advancement that we are into,
modifications that have been fit into the lander.
See, that is one thing. We are, though our moon mission or even our Mangalyaan mission, it takes time, because see, the Luna mission, within 5 days it will reach the moon. All right, it's that fast. We have taken almost months to reach the moon. That is because we rely on the gravity highway, what I would call. So we are using a lot of gravity to go to moon or any other.
They are using the speedway. We are using the country road.
The
solar country road.
They are just speeding ahead.
But I must admit, the rocket does look sleek, and if I can use that word on air, a little sexy as well. It's got the right kind of propulsion system right at the bottom. It throws the rocket
The thing is that India is still yet to come to such powerful propulsion systems. They are supposed to, in fact, get that on track, especially when it comes to more of trans-Earth missions that we are looking at, moving to other planets. We need good propulsion systems, but as of now, only China.
Sab changa.
As of now, yes.
Whatever India has right now, it's all good.
But we,
in our own time,
we are using gravity.
One step, one punch, one round at a time, ladies and gentlemen. India is also going to get there. Meanwhile, Luna-25, that's also launched, is going to land there on the August 23rd. Right here on the ideas page on Indian Express says EC's guardrails, written by S.Y. Qureshi. Collegium proposed by new bill to select the election commissioner is welcome. It will be more effective if its decisions are unanimous. इसको पढ़िएगा, कोशिश करिएगा, आपके शायद नैन चक्ष खुल जाएं. I think we've covered up pretty much everything that was important. Of course, RBI has held up the repo rate, but that was covered yesterday as well. Delhi schools, just as we wrap this show up, to tell all the people in the national capital and their children, Delhi schools, students are not allowed to use mobiles in the classrooms, strictly coming in from the Directorate of Education. Today, anything that happens, students just pull out their mobile phones. Education is happening right here. This distance is right here. Apple has come out with their own VR set that is put, I remember my father telling me that stay away from screen, stay away from the television.
The screen is on your face.
Now the screen is right here like a head trap. So mobile phones are strictly prohibited in classrooms of Delhi government, schools and private schools for students coming from the Directorate of Education. This is what it said on Thursday. Teachers and other staff have also been asked to avoid using mobile phones in places like classrooms and playgrounds, to not set the bad example for these students. Well, that's all the time we have for you. This is Kabir Naqvi and Verghese P. Abraham signing off. I beg pardon. Keep watching News 9. Our rolling coverage continues throughout the day.
My India, My Life Goals campaign, a joint initiative by TV9 Network and Union Ministry of Culture, has been mainstreaming lifestyle for environment, that is life, an idea floated by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. Launched on World Environment Day on June 5th, the initiative since then has reached out to over 100 million people, calling upon them to protect and preserve natural environment, one of the 11 fundamental duties enshrined in the Constitution. The campaign, under the aegis of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, has featured 9 green warriors who, through their inspirational work, have encouraged people to follow life goals. Over 20 influencers from various walks of life too have pitched in with inspiring messages. The campaign has also brought thought leaders together